I have some rainbow sweatbands. The problem is there's green in this. So I think you're seeing this like invisible stripe with the computer behind me. But if I switch to over here, you can see what this actually looks like. Oh, the light's not on over here. Okay, I don't know if I can manage to get myself to actually wear this. Welcome, good morning, this is Coding Rainbow. My name is Dan. It is Tuesday, August 2nd. Welcome to August. I am live from the School for Poetic Computation in New York City. I'm going to be here for approximately 1 hour and a half. I got about a 20-minute late start here, so the time is going to be a little bit short today, but I will also be back on Thursday. So this week the live streams will be today and this coming Thursday. I have a bell. Just getting new things for this thing called Coding Rainbow. I have some stickers. I don't know if you can see these. Can you see these? Where's my hey, camera 4. Oh, there is no camera 4. Where's the director? There's nobody else here but me who can do a tight shot of these stickers. I can talk about where you can get these stickers if you want in a little bit. I want to kind of get started today as quickly as possible with a coding challenge. And the coding challenge that has been requested and thumbs up by a bunch of people is Flappy Bird. So I am going to, something that surprised me that's actually become a little popular. My most watched video on YouTube is a coding challenge where I programmed from scratch the snake game, good old-fashioned snake game in JavaScript. So I think I'm going to do Flappy Bird game today. And actually, I have an ulterior motive for doing Flappy Bird today, which is that I am leading towards, eventually, it's taking me a lot longer to get to this, some machine learning videos. And what I want to do is have a machine learning system that analyzes the current pixels. It just sort of looks almost as if like a camera pointed at the screen, and then knows when to press the spacebar to make the bird kind of go up versus go down. So if we have this example of a kind of a simple interaction, a one-button game of playing Flappy Bird, we can look at a machine learning algorithm to play it automatically. And again, the point of this channel is not that you will then go and have your own machine learning algorithm playing Flappy Bird, but you will take some of these concepts and realize them in new, creative, and exciting, beautiful ways. So let me see what else just I can briefly tell you if you are new. If you would, if you're looking for more of this stuff, you can go to everything that you need, everything that you might need related to this Coding Rainbow channel is here at codingrainbow.com. I encourage you to press subscribe. You're also welcome to participate in a Coding Rainbow Slack channel by becoming a patron on a crowdfunding site called Patreon. And if you would like to find out when I do these live streams, I send out email announcements, and you can also scroll down and put your email in here. Okay, that's all I'm going to say intro-wise today. And I'm just going to kind of get started already. So there's a chat going. I assume everybody can kind of see and hear me okay in the chat. You can see, I don't know if you can see my new stickers here. There's green on the stickers, so I don't know if it shows through. And we're just going to kind of get started here. Let's go to the one thing I wanted to show you, which is there is also a GitHub repository. Oh yeah, it uses my hand to see if it's easier. Yes, that actually won't work. I recognize that, Oliver, how absurd that was that I just did that. Okay, there is also this GitHub repository, Coding Rainbow /Rainbow Topics. This is where you can suggest a topic. It's kind of like exploding. I make a lot of videos each week, and I'm kind of churning stuff out. At the same time, I cannot possibly keep up with this list. But it is here. And you can see, 4 minutes ago, Cube Helix Visualizer. What is that? Whoa, I made a Cube Helix Visualizer based on this. It'd be interesting how you would tackle it, perhaps with actual 3D instead of fake 3D. A little bit afraid to click on this. Let's click on this. This is from Jaeger, if I pronounced that correctly. Whoa, that is quite nice. And it looks like there's some sliders here. Ooh, this is quite nice. Anyway, you guys can find this on your own and look at it more later. I would love to take this on as a challenge. Something I also do often is I go here to sort, and I sort by thumbs up, and you can see what's kind of rising to the top here. Machine learning, which I'm trying to get to, computer vision. I've done a bunch of genetic algorithms. I actually finished all the genetic algorithms videos, although I still want to do traveling salesperson problem with a genetic algorithm, so I will get to that. And all of that stuff. So let me mention actually, because something that's I think happened is that most of you, the viewers who have found this channel, already know something about programming. Most of you who are supporting and participating in this GitHub repository, or supporting on Patreon, or subscribed, or contributing to this GitHub repository, already know about programming. But it has come up, one of the reasons for this channel is not to do advanced tutorials about programming. My goal is to have a wide range of tutorials, from complete and total beginner, to medium, to intermediate, to more intermediate, but I want everything to be friendly and accessible. But obviously, different tutorials that I make, you kind of have, you've got to come with some knowledge or with no knowledge. So I just want to point out, for you guys to help share with the world, that, and I think I could do probably a better job of organizing this, but if I go to my channel here, I want you to, right now I guess I'm live. Right now, does it say that I'm live? I could watch myself live. That if, right here, this right here, these playlists, playlists 1 through 6, Foundations of Programming in JavaScript, this playlist is for complete and total beginners. You don't have to know anything whatsoever. So that is someplace you could get started and then find your way to some of these more intermediate topics that I'm doing. And then there are also, if I scroll down here, these tutorials. Now these are quite old. I made these probably 4 or 5 years ago, but the learning processing are also beginner tutorials. The difference is learning processing uses a programming environment called processing, and the other one, 1 through 6, Foundations of Programming in JavaScript, uses something called P5.js. You know, we could be here forever talking about why you might pick one or the other. I suppose this might make a little more sense in that I made them more recently, but you can kind of choose and that sort of thing. So the WGB Bros mentions in the chat, JS is client-side. Maybe you want to do some things server-side. It's funny you should mention that. I am planning this fall to do more Node.js server-side programming tutorials. I have done some already. The 2 playlists that I have about server-side programming, one is for making Twitter bots using Node, and another is a tutorial for making a shared drawing canvas using something called WebSockets. Both of those require server-side programming, and both of those tutorial playlists, you can find them. Kind of give you some beginner getting started information about Node. However, this fall, something I will mention that I'm planning to do, shiftman.github, I teach a course at ITP, which is a master's program at New York University called Programming from A to Z. You can see this is the website for last year. There will be a new one for 2016. And this course is all about programming with text-based data in JavaScript. Making poetry machines, reading massive tomes of text, and generating new text out of them using Markov chains and grammars, and I'm hoping to actually insert some machine learning into this course. But one of the things that I'm going to do this fall is do more server-side programming with this, because there's a lot of good and interesting text analysis Node packages. You know, typically a lot of this material you might find in Python libraries, but as I'm kind of doing stuff for the web and the browser side, I'm using JavaScript. So this is coming this fall. All the videos for this course will be free and online, but if you want to participate in an online channel to discuss assignments and share work, that's my Slack messaging me right now. I'm going to turn the sound off here. You can support you can sign up for the crowdfunding Patreon. Okay, so that's what I want to say. I've got my soundboard working with some music. In case it gets too hot in here, I have a headband. We're gonna do a coding challenge. I gotta put these on, get ready for the coding challenge. I have a watch on. Will this go over my watch? I think I'm gonna do this in JavaScript, but oh no, wrong sound effect. It's very important when programming JavaScript not to forget the this dot. Okay. Cannot post links. Some of you in the chat can post links. Okay, So here we go. The problem is the green, right? It's a little bit weird that I have this like slice, invisible slice in the middle of my head. Okay, now let's get started because we don't have a lot of time. I only have a little over an hour left. And I want to get started here. Okay, so Flappy Birds. Let's look up some information here. Let's get going here. Flappy Bird. Play Flappy Bird. Well, let's look at that. Let's look at Flappy Bird on Wikipedia. Okay. So Flappy Bird, you may or may not be familiar with Flappy Bird. Let's take a look. Will this actually let me play it? Oh, look at that. It kind of goes up and down. Oops. Oh, look at this. Like ridiculous like advertising now. Okay. It's going to make me watch a message from the sponsor. Flappy Bird is a really simple game. It was quite popular. And it was built in 2013 by Vietnamese artist and programmer Dong Nguyen. Did I pronounce that correctly? Any of you who know? I sort of have this memory of it being released, and then it was like so popular, and it was taken down. Now everyone's making Flappy Bird clones. I think as an interesting exercise here, I'm going to try to program this game from scratch. I kind of wanted to just play it for a second. Let's go to continue. Boy, this was a terrible. This website is no good at all. It's just only advertisements. Can I click on this? This is like ridiculous. Let's look for Flappy Bird JavaScript. Whatever. I'm just gonna make it. I think I have a sense of it. Is there like a little animation? I know what we can do. Flappy Bird YouTube. Let's watch a little video of it. Okay, here we go. So let's forget this advertisement for a second. Ooh. Come on, can I not skip this ad? This is gonna make me watch a full 30-second ad here. What's wrong with this YouTube ad stuff? Ugh. Okay, I just wanted to get a visual reference of the gameplay to help me as I start to program it. I don't know that I've ever actually played Flappy Bird. I'm culturally aware of it, and I've definitely seen it. Okay, here we go. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you can see the idea here. There's a bird. It falls. The bird flies. Every time you tap, a force pushes that bird up, and the idea is you want to get it through these like pipe things. Oh, this is like, isn't it sort of beautiful? I think these one-button games are so beautiful. They're sort of like addictive, like crazy quality to it. I can see myself having a serious problem with this game. Okay, so let's get ourselves going here. I'm going to open up Atom, is my sort of preferred text editor of the day. Oh, somebody mentioned to me on Twitter like an Atom package with live reload and a web server. Does anybody, forget it. I'm going to do it my own old-fashioned. Somebody in the chat, I don't want to waste time here. Let's open up Terminal, desktop. I'll give you guys some music here.
So this is random, this is noise.
Perlin noise, that is.
In the core random algorithm, the actual random algorithm itself, those numbers aren't related at all. You pick, like, I'm picking random numbers between 0 and 10. 9, 2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8, 9,
Pilot
2,
Taxis
1,
I did
3.
recently.
I picked 9 a lot, apparently. But with Perlin noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4,
open this up in Atom.
7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6. Boy, this is like Perlin noise performance art. 9, 2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8, 9, 2, 1, 3. I think that one.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Let's make a
this is like Perlin noise performance art.
bird.js file
2,
and a pipe.js file.
9, 4, 8. But with Perlin noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4.
I'm just getting set up. I'm gonna write all the code live in the tutorial. But I like to just have something kind of with at least.
So this is hurling noise. That is hurling noise. Hurling noise. That is hurling noise. So this is hurling noise. That is hurling noise. This is hurling noise. That is hurling noise. So this is hurling noise. That is hurling noise.
What is this craziness? What is this craziness? I have no idea what this is. Some strange new notification on my computer.
But with purling noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3.
Oh, something's going on with the beautify. I hope my atom isn't broken.
7, 5, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5.
How do I get rid of this?
This is like purling noise performance art.
Is there a... Okay, hold on. Let me at least see if this is working. Oh, sorry, everybody. Is the background noise too loud compared to my voice? I will fix that if that's the case. That was a package error. It's a bug. I know, I don't mind ignoring it. Oh, the file could be read-only. I don't... let's go to here. Yeah, close. Oh, camera went off. I might switch to using Sublime if this is gonna cause me a problem. I'll have to look into this later. Let me just try restarting Atom. Nope. All right. Let me make sure. Yeah, everything seems fine. I'm just going to use Sublime to not worry about this. Very happy with Sublime Text as well. I don't have Beautify in Sublime. That's going to drive me crazy. Oh, this is very sad. How do I? What's the key code? Show the trace. Okay, let's not worry about it. Is this distracting that my head looks like it's going to fall off? Maybe that's a little bit better. Is that better? Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to today's coding challenge. We are going to recreate Flappy Bird in JavaScript in what I hope won't take very long. I sort of feel like, how long could it possibly take? Okay, wait for some. Okay, let's see. How are we going here? We've got 43 people watching. Thank you all for being here. And here we go. $45 F looper. Okay, everybody, what's the over-under on how long this is going to take me? I'm guessing 20 minutes. It's going to be longer. It's probably going to be 30 minutes. Yeah, everybody place your bets now. Is that bell a very harsh sound? Let's see. No, it doesn't seem so bad. I have a bell. 3 days, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, here we go, everybody. We're going to start here. And I put a Coding Rainbow sticker on. Is this a waste of a sticker? These stickers are kind of expensive. 42. One guy made it in processing with 50 to 75 lines. So Arson says in the chat, one guy made it in processing with 50 to 75 lines. I'm not trying to do this with as few lines of code as possible. In fact, I'm probably going to overdo it. There, okay. Here we go. Let me cycle the camera. I don't think I need the whiteboard. I don't think I'm going to use the whiteboard for this. But just in case, nah, forget it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you guys are all making excellent comments in the chat. Here we go. I'm actually going to put on a timer here. Oh, Atom Live Server. That's what it is. Okay. Hold on. I'm looking at my phone. This is the worst. This is my worst live stream ever. But I was getting some important messages, and what I wanted to do is put on a stopwatch. I have a timer thing that I put on the screen, but I don't have time to do that. Okay, stopwatch going. Hello and welcome to a new coding. Let's try this again. Hello and welcome to a
Coding Rainbow.
Coding challenge. Today's coding challenge, I'm going to attempt to make a Flappy Bird clone, which I admit is kind of like a bit of a cliche probably at this point. I don't know how many people have made Flappy Bird clone tutorial whatever's in the world, but it was requested. I think it'll be fun. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to do it in JavaScript. I'm going to try to do it fast, but with time to explain and time to relax and just enjoy myself, and hopefully you might enjoy watching this. So if you're not familiar with Flappy Bird, then I would say pause this video, go and familiarize yourself with it. I actually don't think I've ever actually played it before, but I am somewhat familiar with the gameplay. We'll see how well I do. I've got a live chat going on, and you guys can tell me how I'm doing. If you're watching this as a YouTube archive, you won't be able to follow along live, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm using P5.js, which is a JavaScript framework, has a function setup, it has a function draw, and so the only thing I've got so far in the browser is just a canvas that's 400 by 600 pixels and a black background on that canvas. So the first thing that I want to do, I actually have a separate JavaScript file called bird.js, and I'm actually going to make this a constructor function. And the bird, all the bird really needs is a Y value, right? The bird moves up and down and it stays in one spot. So I'm going to give this bird, I'm going to start the bird off in the center of the window, and I'm going to write also a function called show, where I draw the bird. And again, my design is going to be very poor. So it's going to be up to you to take my code, which will be linked in this description, and make something more beautiful and interesting and riff off of this. So I'm just going to say, let's make a white circle. And you know what? Let's give this bird an X position as well, even though it will be fixed. But let's just try 25 for right now. And I'm going to never forget that this dot, you always need this dot in JavaScript. So let's make this bird a circle. And let's say in the main program now, var bird. And we're going to say bird equals new bird. And bird.show. So we should have something a little bit more interesting now. Ah, there it is. Bird width divided by 2. You know, it would probably make more sense if I want the bird to be in the middle, to be height divided by 2. So let's fix that. I'm going to say height divided by 2. I think the bird could be a little bit bigger, and the bird could be a little bit more in on the screen. So there we go. This is the beginning of Flappy Bird. Now what happens to the bird without you doing anything? The bird falls down. So, oops, wrong window. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say this.update equals function. And it would be good to have some sort of variable called gravity. And gravity being the force that's pushing that bird down. And let's say that the gravity here is going to be 1. I also need a velocity, right? I need a velocity. So gravity is the force that's causing the velocity of the bird to increase. So I'm going to say this.velocity equals 0. And now I'm going to say this.y changes by this.velocity. And this.velocity changes by this.gravity. Okay? So now we have a function that's going to push that bird down. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say also bird.update. There we go. Bye, bird. It flew down. Now, we should probably do something where the bird stops when it gets to the bottom of the window. That makes sense. So I'm going to go back to the bird, and I'm going to say, I'll just do this in the update function. I could write a separate, and I'm going to say if this dot y is greater than height, then I'm just going to keep the bird on the screen. I'm going to say this dot y equals height, and I'm also going to set that velocity to 0. So we can see here, that bird stops. I don't know if that's actually what happens in Flappy Bird, but I just kind of want to do that anyway. And you know what? I'm going to do that also for the top of the window, because ultimately I'm going to be able to push the bird up. So let's do that for less than 0. So, now, of course, so now, how does the game work? I think it's a mobile game, right? You could tap your mobile device. This is my mobile device. So as a tap, I'm going to just use the space bar on my keyboard. So in P5.js, I can write a function called keyPressed. And I can check to see if the key is the space bar. And let me just make sure this is working. I'm just going to console log something right now. So I'm going to run this. And you can see each time I press the space bar, it says here in the console, it prints out space. So that works. So what do I want to do? I want to cause a force to cause that bird to go up. So I'm going to say bird.up. And so what's going to happen with this bird.up function? What do I want to do? I want, instead of the velocity being pushed down by gravity, I want to say this dot velocity minus equals, I want it to go up, or I could say plus equals, but some minus amount. Now, what if I just said minus this dot gravity? Let's try that for a second, just to see what happens. Come on. Wait, you know what's a little bit annoying? I took off that console.log. Hold on. Let's say minus equals this dot gravity times 10. So nothing's working here, and I have a kind of a sneaking suspicion that I've done something totally wrong. Bird.up. Let's make sure this is happening. I'm going to say print line this dot velocity. Okay, so you can see that's working. So let's try to tune. I think there's sort of an issue here where we've got to sort of tune the numbers. So let's make the gravity, just for right now, a lot less strong, so it's not going so fast. Now you can see, though, that this isn't really doing very much. Let's make a this dot up force. Let's call this lift. And we'll say it's negative 10. So I'm going to say this dot velocity plus equal this dot lift. Not left, lift. There we go. So you can see there's sort of an element of tuning those numbers. So now it doesn't really feel like it's falling fast enough, but me pushing the space bar is kind of working. Now, what happens if I hold down the space bar? So that's good. Okay, so that lift is too much. Let's make the gravity 0.6, and let's keep the lift there. But now I'm going to need to make the lift a little bit stronger. There we go. So now I sort of have the game going. The lift is a little bit too strong. Let's make it less strong. So there's, something that I could do is actually limit the top speed, or also like give it some. Something that I could also do is add some like air resistance in general, which I could say something like this dot velocity times equals 0.9. So that actually like helps with things quite a bit, because it's just there's sort of like a limit to what the speed is. So now I've got something that is a bit more kind of like reasonable to play here. So you could spend your time tuning this even more, but I think just like keeping the velocity, keeping some like air resistance by always shrinking the velocity a little bit, tuning how much the lift is versus the gravity, those types of things you can kind of play around with. Okay, so now we have the basic game mechanic here, which is just a falling circle, and each time I press the space bar, I can kind of like have it lift up a little bit. Now, what do we need to add? We need to add those pipe things that kind of come from the right of the screen I'm only at 8 minutes, by the way, which is pretty good. Those pipes things that come from the right of the screen, and you have to steer your way through. Let's see if we can do this. So let's think about this. I'm going to also create a pipe object with a constructor function. And let's think about, what does a pipe need? So a pipe needs, I would say, it's going to extend from the top to somewhere in the middle of the screen, and then somewhere further down to the bottom. So I need, I'm going to say like a value called top, which is going to be some random amount between the top of the screen and the middle of the screen. And let's say this dot bottom is some random amount also between the middle of the screen and the bottom of the screen. And the pipe also needs an x position, which is always going to start at the edge of the screen. And then let's write a function called show, where I draw the pipe as white, fill white, and I draw a rectangle at this dot x, comma 0, all the way with a width of, like, let's say the width is 20, and let's actually make that a variable. And this width and also the height then is this dot top. And then I need another rectangle which starts from the bottom minus how tall it is. And let's make minus this dot bottom, and its height is this dot bottom. Okay. Pause. I'm going to do an edit point here because I really think that using the whiteboard would be useful. So this is when I publish this coding challenge, I'm actually going to edit this part out because I'm kind of thinking it in my head, but I feel like showing it on the whiteboard would be useful. So let me just erase the whiteboard real quick. I should have done this before I started. Okay, so now I need a marker. Do I have a good marker somewhere? Okay. Did this marker work? I think so. Can you see that screen? Okay. So I'm actually going to now go back into the video and draw a quick diagram. Okay, in case this isn't making sense to you, let's actually do a quick diagram here. What I'm trying to do is create something that looks like this. So I need two random numbers. This length is what I'm calling top. This length is what I'm calling bottom. And then this length, this width is what I'm calling W. So I first draw a rectangle from here with this width with a height of top. And then I draw a rectangle from here, which is height minus bottom, which is this point with this width, and then the height of that rectangle is bottom. So this is what I'm getting. And if these values are random, I'll sometimes get stuff that looks like this, etc. Now, I could be more thoughtful. Like right now, the way that I'm doing it, there's this, you could never get something that looks like this. So it probably would make I could probably do something different where I pick like a random empty amount of space and then I pick a random starting point for that empty amount of space. That might be interesting to do. We can make that as an improvement later, but let's just stick with what I have right now, which I think is good enough. Okay, I'm back over here, and let's just see, now I need a function like this dot update. And all I want to do in this dot update is say this dot x minus equals some speed, this dot speed. So let's say this dot speed is always going to be 5. I'm going to just, and so all of these are always going to move to the left. So let's look now here in Sketch. I'm going to create an array called pipes. And what I'm going to do is say pipes.push, a new pipe. And then in draw, I'm going to say for all of the pipes in the array. Yeah, I also have a problem with this. Somebody in the chat is saying where I could technically have a pipe with no space in it. So all that stuff can be corrected later. And I want to say show, and I want to say update. So let's run this now and see. There we go. Ooh, that's moving quite fast. So let's go back to the pipe and let's just make the speed 1. So we can see, look, we basically have Flappy Bird already. And it's so easy to play. So it's moving kind of slow. Now, but of course I only have one. So let's think about this. A couple things that I want to do. One is I want to say something like if frame count, I want to have a pipe every like so often, modulus 40 equals 0, which means every 40 frames. The modulus operator being the remainder of division. So anytime a number is divisible by 40 with a remainder of 0 is 0, 40, 80, 120, 160, etc. Let's add a new pipe. And let's see how this looks. Oh, that's a lot of every 40 frames is quite a few. Oh, look at this. Oh, I'm pretty good at this. I need some like music to play along with this. Okay, so that's no good, obviously. Let's make the pipes move a little bit faster, twice as fast, and let's say every 100 frames. So obviously you can see how the speed of the pipes, how frequent they are, and we can see basically I have the game right now. Now I've made a very easy version of the game to play. It's not very hard, but one thing that I haven't done is figure out when I need to actually, I'm doing a great job here. So let's actually add something that shows us when the circle hits the pipe or doesn't hit the pipe. So, and also, by the way, I should be getting rid of the pipes at some point. So one thing I should do is I should say if pipes index I is finished, and I can actually just say x is less than 0. And you know what? I'm going to write a function. I'll write a function called offScreen. So if the pipe is off the screen, I want to say pipes.splice I1. So splice is a function that deletes an element from the array. So I want to know if the pipe went off the screen, get rid of it. I don't need it anymore. Now, of course, there's a little bit of an issue here, which is there's no such thing as a function called offScreen. That's a function I have to write. There's another issue here, which is that when I'm deleting stuff out of the array, I really should go through the array backwards. And I've covered that in other videos, but basically the array slides, the elements slide back, and if I'm going forwards, the elements slide back. While I'm going forward, I could end up skipping things. So I'm just going to switch my loop to saying greater than or equal to 0 and I minus minus. And then if I run this, right, no function named offScreen, so I have to go into the pipe, then I have to write a function called this.offScreen is a function, and this is very simple. I can just say if this.x is less than negative w, right, because I want it to be all the way off, so its width has to be all the way off, return true, else return false. And now I know all of you watching this video are going to complain to me and just say, but couldn't you just say return this.x is less than negative w? Because that evaluates to true or false. Yes, I could do that. But you know what? Sometimes I like to write my code this way. I like it to be long-winded, multiple lines. I love the way the curly brackets just nest themselves so beautifully. I love to say return true, return false. You can write your code a different way. But yeah, and now I sort of feel like I should change it. But I'm not going to. I'll do it later. Okay, so coming back, let's see now. We should see, oops, w is not defined. So I have to say, this dot. Always forget the this dot.
This dot's on.
Okay, now we should see. Now, I can't really tell if this is working. I can only assume this is working. But if I do something, if I say like this, pipes.length, if I look at the length of that array, it's 2, and it's always 2. So even though I'm adding more and more, they're getting deleted. Okay? So we can be pretty sure that that's working. Okay, now let's see. Now we've got to do the exciting part here. I mean, this whole thing hopefully is somewhat exciting, but we've really got to get the gameplay mechanic where it's going to give you some visual feedback if you hit one of those pipes. So let's think about how we might write this. Ultimately, here's where I have this single bird that says bird.update, bird.show, and I'm also looping through all the pipes. So one thing I could do, I don't really need to do it this way, but I'm gonna move this loop first, just so the bird comes after, and I'm going to say here, I'm going to say if pipes index I hits the bird, then do something. I'm just going to say console.log hit. So I need to have a function that determines if a pipe has hit the bird. So if looking at this bit of code, you can see here, what do I need to write? I need to write a function called hits, and that function is going to be part of the pipe object, and it's going to receive a bird object as an argument. So I'm going to go to the pipe object. I'm just going to write the function up there here. This dot hits, I called it hits, equals function bird. And now I just need to check. What do I need to check? I need to check if bird.y is less than the top and bird or bird.y is greater than height minus this dot bottom. So if the bird is ever, if I come back here to my whiteboard, if the bird is ever, right, less than top or greater than height minus bottom here, then it's kind of, it's hitting that pipe. So let's come back over here. Did I get that right? It's greater than height. Okay, so then I want to say return true. Although this isn't good enough, right? It's also got to be within the actual x position. So we should also say, and I could be much better about how I construct this, but I'm going to inside here. I'll go. So let's just say it's within that stuff. Also, let's now check if bird.x, its x position is greater than this dot x, and bird.x is less than this dot x plus this dot w. So I'm also just checking if it's in between the actual x position of the pipe. So if all of that is true, I'm going to return true. You know, I'm just working it out. This double if statement is kind of an awful way to write this, and I could probably be more clever, and I could write a separate function that just tests intersection between a circle and a rectangle. But right now, this will be good enough for us right now. And I look forward to hearing your improvements and suggestions in the comments. So let's just see here whoops. Right now, I'm not seeing anything. Hit. So this is basically working. You can see that anytime, this is going to be hard. Hard. So let's actually give ourselves some visual feedback. If this is the case, let's write a variable called highlight, set it equal to false. Let's also say this dot highlight equals true. And then under show, I'm going to say if this dot highlight, I'm going to say fill, I'm going to make it red. So let's just see if this gives us some nice visual feedback. Oh, you know what? I never set highlight equal to false. So watch, it hits it. So, that's fine, but I might want to actually also say this dot highlight equals false, so if it's not hitting it. So now, here we go. It hits it, you can see. So now I could add things like score. I could be more careful about, I'm really only checking the center. Go, 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 go. Whoa, whoa. This is way too easy to play. Oh, there we go, okay. So you get the idea. So I think that I've kind of completed this. There's a lot of improvements that I would want to make to this in terms of being more thoughtful about checking that intersection to be a bit more precise. Good enough, though. I could do a better job of picking the way that, here's a difficult one. A better job of how I pick the top and bottom heights of these rectangles. I could add score, right? You start with a score. Maybe as time goes on, your score goes up. Every time you hit a pipe, the score goes down. All those things. I would say ask me your questions in the comments. Make versions of this and tweet me your exciting design. You could make a nice bird design. You could reimagine this entire game to not be a bird and pipes, but to be a flower and rainbows. I don't know how that would work. Tweet me and share with me all of your interesting variations on this, and I'll maybe come back and do a Q&A video where I follow up on some of your questions and make some improvements to this Flappy Bird challenge. Okay? Thanks for watching, and I will see you in a future coding challenge. Goodbye. All right, everyone. My hands are detached. The WG Bros makes a great suggestion in the chat. Make it find the nearest xy coordinates of the pipe to the circle and check if the distance is less than the radius of the bird. Yes. Was it 25 minutes? Yeah, 20. I see 23 minutes, but there was like 30 seconds to a minute in there where I erased the whiteboard. That'll get edited out when I make a sort of edited version of this. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? I forgot to hit the bell at the end. That's the reason for this bell. Oops, wrong button.
Goody power.
All right. So Jack Napier in the chat asks, does anybody know how I changed the theme of P5? So I'm not actually using the P5 editor. I'm using Sublime Text as an editor and just running a local server in the background. Which I have a video actually that shows how to do that. If you look for like Google on YouTube, search on YouTube, shiftmin local server P5 or something, you'll find it. Okay, so today I feel like the theme of today is game stuff. I really picked the simple one to start with. I've had this request to do agar.io. How do you say it? Agario? Agara.io? I'm going to click play as a guest. So this is also a very simple game where with this mouse, I move and is it always moving in the, oops, I lost. Continue? No, play as guest. Let me just see here. Now, so it's always moving exactly in the direction of the mouse. And I guess the idea is that I can eat the smaller things. And if something that's bigger than me gets me, then I die. But if I get something that I'm bigger, then I eat it. And this is all multiplayer and networked, and people have names and they're on teams. And someone's got, oh, we're just like punching each other here. Maybe we're too similar in size. Like how do I? Yeah. So that one was big enough to me. So I've actually never played this game till. Well, I looked at it last night, actually, when I was thinking about things that I would do today. So doing this as a coding challenge presents a lot of complications. One is to do the full multiplayer aspect of it, I need quite an elaborate web server system using sockets and managing a list of players and some sort of scale, in terms of people connected to it. So I think I could do this in a multi-part series. Maybe I should do the traveling salesperson today. Agarion, is that what it's called? So I'm trying to think of how to best use the time that I have left today. I had this list. Let me look at my list. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm looking for my list of topics that I had that I was thinking about. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about the point sampling. I'm afraid of this Agario thing. Let me check the chat, see what everybody's saying. You can also split yourself and fire things. There are viruses. Interesting. No N at the end. Okay. So I think this is interesting. The other thing I like about this is I like how these are kind of like a little bit blobby, and we can make them a little bit blobby. So let's keep with the theme of games today. I did Flappy Bird, and let's try to begin this Agario thing. I could always do Tetris. There's no way I'm doing Tetris today. So I'm only going to be here for about another half an hour or so. Yeah, I should make a way that you can launch sounds remotely. So let's. Okay. I'm gonna play my Flappy Bird game for a little bit. I'm feeling a little tired, a little sad. Okay. Trigger Frogger. Frogger. Ooh, I love the idea of Frogger. Hold on. Frogger Classic. So how do I do this? Oh, how lovely. This is probably much harder to do than you would think. Sorry, I just got distracted by enjoying playing Frogger. Oh, why do I... Oh, I have to get on the things. I forgot. You know, I kind of want to do this, but I want to think about this. This is great. Somebody add this. Somebody add Frogger to... Oops. Somebody add Frogger to the Rainbow Topics GitHub. And we're going to work... All I need is for somebody to tell me how to pronounce Agario, and then I'm going to start doing that as the next coding challenge. So let's go get Flappy Bird. And Agar.io. Yes, add. All right, let's just make it this. Okay. And I'm going to open this again in Sublime. Oh, that's Atom. I forgot that Atom wasn't working for me. And we're going to close Flappy Bird. And I'm going to make this an object. I'm going to make this called Blob. And I'm going to get rid of this. And get rid of all this stuff. That's the correct way to say it. Okay. Okay, and set up, draw. I didn't eat a big enough breakfast today. This is a problem. And here it is. Okay, great. Pipe is missing. I don't need that. This is blob. Let's give myself a slightly larger pixel space. See if we can manage that. I think that works. Console doesn't need to be so big. Yeah, I have been using Atom, the Atom editor, in most of my videos as a text editor. But for some reason, I'm getting a weird error in it this morning, and I don't feel like wasting time. Okay, so a lot of you are asking about Flappy Bird. I just made Flappy Bird, so when the archive of this stream gets released, you'll be able to watch that back, and then there'll be there's one small edit point in it where I was like erasing the whiteboard. That'll also be published as a separate video. Actually, you know what Okay, I'm sad to hear that the stream is not working for some of you. I don't have any good advice for you guys about that. Okay, so let's look up. Let me go here. Can I find a Wikipedia page for this? Yep. Okay. Matthias Valadares. Okay. So those of you who are having problems with the stream, I wish I could do something about that right now. But one thing I'll say is all of this is being recorded. So I apologize that maybe it's not working so great for you live right now. But it will be published as an archive. You'll be able to watch it later. Okay. Right, I guess I'm talking to the people who can't watch the stream as if they could hear me, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, getting ready for this. Oops.
Coding power. Coding power. Coding power. Coding power.
Where's all my special effects? Special effects aren't happening right now. Okay, so I'm going to cycle the camera. I'm doing this in JavaScript. This dot song. Okay. Here we go. So, oops, no, okay. So I think this will be the last coding challenge for today, and then I'll hopefully have some time to take some questions at the end. Okay. I like how people in the chat are asking, what is happening? Why is he dancing? Clearly first-time viewers. Hold on. You might also be wondering, why am I attaching stickers to myself? There. Oh, you can't really see that one. That's another sticker. Okay. Here we go. Hello and welcome to another game coding challenge. Now this was suggested to me by actually hold on, timeout. Let's find it. Start over. All right, start here. I'm starting again. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another coding challenge. Today's coding challenge is Agario, agar.io. Agario, a game that I was not familiar with until recently when Little Ot on GitHub suggested this particular game. I looked it up. I played it for a few minutes. It's a massively multiplayer game created by Matheus Valadares. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. You could go to agar.io and play it yourself. But basically, you're this blob moving around the screen and you eat other blobs. Now, here's the thing. This is actually quite complex. The simple mechanic, I think, is going to be hopefully something easy that I can implement in this short video. But I'm going to do this in several stages. And so part one is I'm going to implement the basic game mechanic. And in part two, I will start to look at how you might use WebSockets to create a multiplayer version of this game. So this video is just going to be the basic game mechanic. So I'm using the P5JS framework. I'm using the Sublime text editor. I have a canvas and a black background. That's all I'm starting with. And I've created a separate, oops, darn. Pause, or don't pause, hold on. Yeah, pause. Oh yeah, hopefully I didn't mess up the Flappy Bird thing. Edit point back in. Sorry, Mathieu. And I also have a JavaScript file called blob.js where I'm going to write a constructor function to create this idea of a blob object. The blob object will serve to be both you, the blob moving around the screen, as well as other little blobs that you are trying to eat. So what does this blob need? Now I'm going to use vector objects, which are something that exists in P5. A vector being an object that stores an X and a Y component for a position on the screen and lots of other things that we could do with that. So I'm going to say this.pos equals create vector, what's your vector? Width divided by 2, height divided by 2. And then I'm going to write a function called show, which actually, since it's in this object, I'm going to write this.show equals function. And I'm going to say fill 255, and I'm going to draw an ellipse at this.x, this.y. And I definitely need a variable to keep track of the radius, the size of this blob. Let's just make it 32 or 64 to start with. So then the size of the ellipse is the radius times 2, and the height is the radius times 2. So now if I go to sketch, I can just say var blob equals new blob blob.show. So let's just see. Where's the blob? Oh, something's going terribly wrong. Pause. Oh, don't pause, or pause. I'm kind of being silly here where I forgot the whole point of this was I made a vector called pos for position, and then I tried to draw it at this.x, which doesn't exist. So this.pos.x, this.pos.y. There we go. So there we are in the window. Now, this is something a little bit crazy as I just realized is part of this game. So I want to move around the space. So the thing is, in the game, this blob that you're seeing on the screen right here moves, but visually it stays the same, and rather the world shifts relative to it. So we've got to kind of figure that out. So I'm going to do something else here, I think, to help us, where I'm going to make an array called blobs. Boy, I need some better variable names. Blobs can be just an empty array. And by the way, I think that I should give the blob a variable in the constructor so I can actually say how big to make it. So I want this blob to be 64. And now I want to say var I equals 0. I is less than, I'm going to add 10 smaller blobs. Blobs index I equals a new blob, which will be smaller. All these blobs are going to be 16. And then now I can have a loop in the draw loop where I call show on all of those. Now, look at that. They're all in the center. That's a bit of a problem. So how about we also, something we could do is in this blob object, I could also give it an x and a y. And then I could say here, I want this blob to be in the middle. And I want these blobs to be at a random location. And then the blob is made with that x and y. There we go. So this is where we're starting. We have this idea of one blob that is me, I am the blob, and then lots of other little blobs that are food that I want to eat. So now the way that the Agario works is the blob moves in the direction of the mouse. So let's see if we can figure out how to make that happen. Okay? So what I want to do is add a function called update. And let's think about, oh, this camera went off. Let's think about, I have some old Flappy Bird diagram here that I'm going to erase. Let's think about how this actually works. So here's the blob, and here's the mouse. What I want is I need to create a vector, an arrow that points from the blob towards the mouse, and I want that to be the direction that it moves. So this is actually quite easy to do because, coming back over here, if I know this position and I know this position, if I take this position minus this position, I get a vector that points from here to there. So I can actually use, coming back over here, I can say mouse equals create vector, mouse x, mouse y, and then I could say mouse dot subtract this dot position, and then I can just say, I can say mouse dot set magnitude to like 3. Set magnitude just takes that vector, however long it might be, and sets it to a specific magnitude. And then I could say this dot pause, add, what am I doing? This dot pod, add mouse. So really, this is how I'm calculating the velocity. And oops, we got some errors here. Blob.js line 5. This dot update equals function. Oh, and you know what would help? If I called this dot update. If I called blob.update. Mouse is not defined. And oops, I'm calling it velocity now. So you can see how that blob is now following the mouse. Here's the thing though, it's moving and not the other stuff. So I want my view of the world to be relative to this particular object. So how do we do that? I have an idea. What if instead of, okay. I'm going to use the translate function. Let me come back over here. This is where the object is, and this is where the origin is, 0, 0. But let's say the object moves over here. What if I move the origin over to here? Then we should see it still. Wait, no, I need to move the origin the other way. If I move the origin over here, right, it would be kind of here, which would appear back in the center of our screen. I kind of got lost in my own thoughts there. Basically, what I want to do is, it's moving over here, but I want to shift the view to be over there. And the view of where we're seeing everything is kind of like, where is the origin point in our canvas? And translate is a function that shifts the origin. So what if I just said right here, translate by blob.position.x, blob.position.y, negative. Now, I think this is going to be a little bit off, and you'll see why in a second. It's working, but the blob is at the top left. So really what I want to do is translate by the center, because that's really where I want to have the view minus that. And now we can see, as I move the mouse around, the blob is that always stays in the center, but these other things move. Am I doing this right? Guys, tell me in the chat if this is kind of the right idea. It's not right. Look. Is it? Yeah. Move this way, move up, move down, move this way, move this way, move this way, move this way. It is. It's just sort of strange to see. Let's add a lot more of these. It feels like I'm steering it incorrectly. Okay, people are saying it's right. Feels a little off to me, but okay. The other thing that's a little bit crazy here is that what's happening now? Why does it do that? Okay, pause. Smoothing, dampening for the controls. Yeah, it needs that. Hold on, I'm thinking for a second. Yeah, making it full screen would certainly help. But why is it? Oh, I know the problem. And we're back. So I forgot something. As soon as I started moving it around, I forgot that this actual velocity is being tracked relative to the object's position, which now is off somewhere, and that it's actually the mouse and the position are in the same place, and all sorts of. What I want now is I need to subtract just the center of the window. So I can actually just create a vector like this. I don't want to actually anymore subtract the actual position of the object, because the position of the object is relative to the world, but the user's interaction is always relative to the center of the window. And so that's what was messing things up. So now you can see this works well. Now there's another sort of issue here, which is that the world should really be much bigger than what I'm seeing actually the width of the canvas itself. And in that sense, we can kind of do that really rather easily by saying, let's pick a random x between like negative width and width divided times 2, and let's pick a y between negative height and height times 2, just so we have kind of like a larger space for the blobs to live in. And so now you can see that as I move around, there's a much kind of larger world of things for me to eat potentially. Okay, so I think we're moving along here. We've got the basic gist of the game. Okay, now I need to add one more thing here, which is that if I eat one of these, if I find one of these other pieces of blob things and eat it, then I get a little bit bigger. I think that's something that happens in the game. So one thing that I need to do is when we're looping through all of these blobs, we should check. Oh yeah, if blob eats blobs index I, then blob grows. And actually, what I want to do is remove that blob. So blob index I dot splice 0, 1. And I find myself saying this a lot these days. I also want to loop through the array backwards, because I just said this in another video I made. But if I am removing things from the array as I'm going forward through the array, the elements slide backwards, and I could skip one by accident. So it's good to loop through the array backwards. So let's see. I want to check if the blob eats one of those other blobs, then I want to remove one of those other blobs from the array. And how do I determine if it eats it? The way that I do that is by writing a function, eats, which receives another blob I'll call other. and I need to check something. I need to know what is the distance between this blob's x. You know what? And actually, there is a p5 vector distance function. So I'm going to say, what is the distance between this blob's position and the other blob's position? And if that distance is less than this blob's radius plus the other blob's radius, then we've eaten it. Why is that true?
Goody power.
Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Right? If I have two objects and I check their distance relative to the sum of the two radii, if they're overlapping, that distance is going to be less than it. If they're not overlapping, that distance is going to be greater than that sum. So coming back over here, we can now say if it eats it, then I can also, let's say this dot r gets bigger by the other's radius, and also return true. Otherwise return false. And come over here to the blob, come over here back to the main program, and I think that's basically it. So let's see how that works. Oops, invalid left-hand side in assignment on sketch.21. I equals blobs.length minus 1. Okay, so we should see here, blobs index I.splice is not a function. Okay, of course, what am I doing here? This is absolutely incorrect. I don't know what, I haven't eaten breakfast this morning. Clearly, I'm kind of struggling here for my energy. I want to splice out of the array at index I one element, which means remove index one element starting at index I. I don't know what I was writing before. It was completely wrong. Blobs splice, let me refresh here. Come on, eat. There we go, eat. 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 Okay, so it's getting quite a bit too big just from eating a blob. So let's divide that, let's multiply that by like 0.2. And we can see, there we go. And I think that what might be, okay. So, I'm going to pause for a second. All right, people are telling me some things. People are telling me in the game, they don't eat it immediately when they touch. So when, so guys, give me some corrections here. So they don't eat each other immediately when they touch. That's fixable. The other thing that I feel like some dampening would help. Right? It seems like, let's go to the actual game. Is there dampening in the game? No, feels the same. It's just you're kind of smaller. Oh yeah, it kind of adjusts. There's a little bit of an interpolating. Okay, so let's do a little bit of an interpolating to the velocity. I should scale everything else. The screen zooms out instead of the blob size increase. Really? Oh, blob size stays the same. Is that really how it works? That's interesting. Okay. Oh, that's cool. So we use scale. Interesting. Okay. Global scale. Okay. So that I can fix too. Okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do two things. You shouldn't add the radii, but calculate both blobs' areas, add them, and get back the radius. Okay. You increase the size, but the zoom out cancels it somewhat. Okay. Calculate the blob areas, add them. That makes sense. Area is pi r squared, right? Okay, so I'm going to return here. Okay, I'm back. The chat gave me some nice, helpful suggestions. A couple things about how the game actually works. One is increasing the blob's radius is not actually how the game works. And this is actually a great thing that you should learn about if you're not familiar with. Because we often think of the blob, a circle size, as its radius, but that's not really its size. The size that we're seeing is its surface area, the area, which is calculated pi r squared. So let's look at that. So let's fix that for a second. So I'm going to make a variable called sum, which is equal to pi times this dot r times this dot r plus pi times other dot r times other dot r. So that is the sum of the two areas of the blob that's eating the smaller blob. Now the new radius should be the radius that's associated with that particular sum. And how do I get that? Well, let's think about this really quick. If the area equals pi r squared, then r squared equals area divided by pi, and r equals the square root of area divided by pi. So I can just solve for r with that particular equation, and I can come back to here. No! I'm bad at my switching. I can come back to here, and I can say this dot r equals the square root of that area. What did I say? Oh, no. Area divided by pi. So let's take a look at that. There we go. That's such a more beautiful and elegant interaction. Now, the other thing that I was told that actually happens with Gario is that instead of you seeing your circle grow, the actual view of the world kind of zooms out. So while you're growing, what you see is you stay the same size and the other circles kind of shrink. And we can do that in P5 using the scale function. So in the same way that I used this translate function, I could scale the world by the blob's current radius divided by what it started with, which is 64. So right, if its radius is 64, then I'm scaling the world by 1. So let's see how this works. Now the problem is this is causing everything to shift to the right, which is not great. So, and by the way, the radius is getting bigger. So I wanted to do it the other way. 64 divided by the blob's radius. I want it to shrink. And so this is working, but everything is kind of shifting up. That's because I unfortunately am drawing everything relative to the top left. So really what I want to do is I need to change the whole view of everything for the blob to start at 0, 0, which is better anyway. So I want the blob to start at 0, 0. Let's go back to the main sketch. I want the blob, to start at 0, 0. And the other blobs can just go from negative width to positive width. Negative height to positive height. That should work. I kind of had that weird before anyway. And then the world is actually just drawn relative to negative the blob's position. So I'm always doing everything relative to that particular blob, which starts at 0, 0. That's going to make things much better. Oops. Wait. Width divided by 2 plus? Wait. I did this wrong. Whoa. Minus. Yeah, there we go. Wait, something is still off. Time out. Scale first, then translate. Thank you. No, wait. Hold on. Let me think about this. Okay, first thing I want to do is translate to the center. Everything, okay, I want to translate to the center. This should make the blob, okay, that's what I want, right? So it's working correctly. Then I need to scale. Then I need to do the offset from the blob's location. I think this is right now. Yeah, okay, hold on. Let's go back, because I think this is going to get edited out. I got to edit this back. Okay. The figuring out is probably good. I should keep that. Okay, there's a kind of an issue going on here. So let me think about this. Let me get this right here for a second. I've done this twice now, but hopefully you're seeing an edited version of this now. So the problem is actually that the first thing that I need to do is translate to the center. So let's not do anything just right now, but translate to the center. So now you can see this is where the blob moves freely around, and it should be growing as it eats other blobs. Now what I want to do is I want to scale it. I wanted to scale it by its relative size, relative to its original size. So you can see the world is kind of shrinking rather than the blob growing. But now that I have that, I need to do the scale before I offset the whole world then by negative the blob's x position, negative the blob's y position. So now if I do it in that order, you're going to, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oop, I need a comma there. Now we can see we have the world doing what I originally hoped and intended it to do. So, okay, so now you can see that things are very kind of herky-jerky here, and that's because everything happens instantly. The scale changes instantly, the view changes instantly, and it could be nice to have things massaged a little bit, smoothed a little bit. And a way to do that is with a function called, in P5 called lerp, which stands for linear interpolation. Instead of taking a value and setting it directly to the new value, I just want to kind of move slowly towards that new value. And so let's do that with scale. So the new scale is 64 divided by blob.r. But I need a variable. I don't want to call it scale because there's a P5 function called scale. So I'm actually going to call it zoom. So zoom, I'm going to start zoom equal to 1. And zoom should always be the lerp between a value in between itself and what the new zoom is. And now the last argument of this lerp function, I have a whole video about lerp. You can find that video. If I make it like 0.1, let's see what happens. Oh, wait, hold on. 0.9. Oh, wait. I got to actually put it in there. Sorry, everybody. I got to actually use the variable I created. So what I want is I want it to be just a little bit, 10% of the new value, so that I interpolate towards it. And can you see that happening kind of smoothly? Let me. So one thing I want to do, just to make this more obvious, is I'm going to just make it 10 times that amount. Whoops. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. I think I had it opposite. I think this should be 0.9. No? Hold on. Pause. It's just such a subtle change that I'm not seeing it. I think I did it right, though. Hold on. Why is it, if I just multiply it by 2, it's so much more? Let's do, just temporarily, let's do this. Okay, so that's growing really fast. And so I had it wrong. No. Comment out the blob's radius. New zoom. Zoom equals lerp to the new zoom. Make 0.1 smaller. Yeah, I know. Okay, hold on. Let me just test something here. Lerp x comma y 0.01. Yeah, 100.5. So that is the distance, like I'm going 1% from x to y. And I want to go 1% from the zoom to the new zoom. And zoom starts at 1. And this, the scale is slower than the lerp. So this, in my view, this should work. Oh, it is actually working. I'm just not seeing it because the lerp is, yeah, you can see it there. This is what I was trying to show you. It was working all along. I just kind of was like not looking at it correctly. That's what I said. Yeah, you all are giving me the corrections. Okay. Okay. Okay, hold on. How am I on time? What time is it, everybody? 12:15. So I've got to wrap this up. Okay, we've got to finish this video. I'm going to do this with the velocity as well. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, I don't know. Mathieu, you're going to have to edit this somehow. I don't know. It'll be awkward, but it's fine. Okay. Okay, back for a second. Let's take a look. Actually, forget it. I'm not going to say back for a second. There'll just be a weird edit point. Let's adjust the way the radius is growing to try to get a better look at this. So I'm going to change the radius. I'm going to take away that using the surface area and just actually add the two radii together. And then now we should be able to see. And by the way, there's so many. It's actually, I shouldn't allow any of the, it also it just eats a lot of blobs immediately. So let me start with quite a few fewer, just 10. And so now we can see what happens. As I eat a blob, it gets really big immediately, but then the view kind of slowly interpolates and shrinks. So you can obviously tune these numbers a little bit better, but I'm going to go back now to the surface area and sort of see. And I think I want to add one more interpolation here, which is just to interpolate its velocity so that it doesn't immediately get the new velocity, but rather kind of smoothly turns a little bit as you move the mouse around. I don't know that Agarrio is actually doing that, but I think that might be an interesting thing to add. So I'm going to add that here in the blob object. I'm going to say, I'm going to give it a velocity. I'm going to give it a variable velocity, create vector, and it's going to be empty, 0, 0 to start. And then this is going to be its new velocity. And its new velocity has a magnitude of 3. And its velocity, I'm going to lerp to the new velocity by 0.1. So let's just see how that works. Is not defined. And of course, I forgot. No. I always need the this dot. This dot's on. Blob.10. And this needs this dot velocity. So you can see it's kind of, the turning is a little bit more interpolated now, is a little bit smoother. Is it still going in the right direction, right? So you could play with that number quite a bit. Like if I made this number, 0.01, its turning is going to be quite slow. If I made that number 0.9, it's going to be as if it turns instantly. So I'm going to just use 0.2, and you can see now it's a little bit smoother. Now let's go back to the original sketch, and let's add a whole bunch of these. And you can see here I am eating them all, moving around. And as I eat them, I should probably add new ones. I've got a little bit of a performance issue because there's way too many of them. You can see the scale. I'm really kind of zooming out on the world. But this is the basic game mechanic. So I'm going to stop here in this particular video. I encourage you to take this, tweak it, improve it, change the design of the blobs, change the size of the world. Maybe as an exercise, add the feature of when you eat a smaller blob, a new one gets added somewhere else. And see what you can add to improve this and make this a little bit better. I'm going to do 2 more videos. This one video, I'm just going to show you how to make this something that's a little bit blobby, so the vertices kind of undulate a little bit, so it's not a perfect circle. I'm going to do that in a separate video, and then in a third part of this challenge, eventually at some point, I'm going to look at multiplayer networking with this, so multiple people could sort of play against each other and consume each other in this kind of blob way. Somebody also mentioned to me that in the actual game, the blob doesn't eat it immediately. Maybe it has to envelop the whole thing, or they squish against each other a little bit. So there's some possible also additional interesting features that I could think about adding at some point to this. Suggest those and let me know in the chat what I got wrong with this game. And also, I'm going to have to do some work in the chat. Also, been mentioning about optimizing this. All these square root calculations are really slowing things down, and there's some ways around that I think I could ultimately do to kind of optimize and make it perform a bit faster, which I'll look at some point as well. Okay, so that is part 1 of Agarrio game in P5JS coding challenge. I'll see you at a future video. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Okay, everybody. So So I'm looking in the chat. Square root is not that slow, just the amount. Array of global food as data, cached blob, split and fire. Oh, you can split and fire stuff. I haven't done that. Also the border. This is getting annoying. So people are giving lots of great suggestions in the chat. Okay, so I think that I am finished for today. I'm trying to see if I can hit the camera with the rainbow sweatbands. I did hit the camera, but I don't know if you saw that. So I encourage you to, so I've got about 5 or 10 minutes before I have to move on to, actually, let me plug something. I am here at the School for Poetic Computation. They are running a 10-week program, SFPC. They are running a, goodbye dance is being requested. SFPCIO is a school. They are running a 10-week session now, which is wrapping up this week. I'm going to be helping some students with their projects or seeing some of their projects this afternoon, which is why I need to go. And I think if I go to attending.io SFPC, let's Google that. Here we go. We should be able to find FSPC Summer 2016 Student Showcase. It is happening this Saturday and Sunday, I believe. So I encourage you to find this and come and visit. If you're in the New York City area, come to the show, see some interesting student projects. So that I thought I would mention. I'm trying to think of other things that I forgot to mention. Another thing that I will briefly plug is I recently, some of you had asked about this, I recently released a set of t-shirts. Unfortunately, this is mostly only US shipping friendly. I am looking, I say this every time and I gotta get to this, but I am looking into some other parts of the world shipping friendly t-shirt systems. This will ship outside of the US, it just kind of can get expensive. But this t-shirt run has now closed. However, I am told that if you go here and put in your email, when it gets to 40, they will do another run of the t-shirts. And actually, I have some friends that I wanted to buy t-shirts for, so I need this to get up a little bit higher. So, but don't just put your email in here, only if you're really interested, I think. Put your email in here to request that they do another run of the t-shirts if you're interested. However, the kid sizes actually are always available. They do those sort of print on demand, this lovely company Cotton Bureau. So I think if I do /kids, the kids sizes and the onesies are all available. Another thing there was something else that I wanted to mention. Yes, so I recently had a Cadenza course called The Nature of Code, a lot of similar content to what I do in my YouTube channel, has forums and some assignments. This course is now closed, but it's going to run again in what Cadenza calls adaptive mode. So it ran where they released a session every week and people did it at the same time. Adaptive mode, meaning you can just come in and come out of it any time. But Cadenza asked me to plug, I think it's Class Central, Nature of Code reviews. So if you took the course and liked the course or didn't like the course, you could write a bad review if you so want. If you feel so inclined, you could go to this URL and I'll post it in the description of this video, or maybe Oliver can post it in the chat if you could find it quickly. classcentral.com/MOOC/3777/cadenza-the-nature of code, and you can write a review there. So far there are 13 student reviews. So if you feel so inclined to write a review there, Cadenza would appreciate it, I would appreciate it. Okay, let's see if there are, yeah, I use Google as my default search. Am I not using it? Daniel, let's coding rainbow. Yeah, that's my default search. Okay, use the smooth movement library for doing client and server stuff. Can you show your new GIF? Okay, hold on. Giphy, coding rainbows. Coding with rainbows. It's on, hold on, how do I find it? Shoot. I have it. Oops, I rang the bell. Shoot, where's the Giphy URL for that? It's funny, like I don't have all of my recent, because I switched to a different user. I don't have all of my recent, and I don't know why it doesn't show up on search. It would be nice if it showed up on search here. I wonder if it's not listed. I can just find it on Twitter because I posted it. I don't know why I'm... So one thing that I'm working on is very, very soon, there's a Giphy URL for this. Maybe somebody can find it. I don't know why this isn't playing. This browser cannot support video playback. That is insane. Save, hold on. What is going on with the world today? Wow, that's crazy. You'll have to enjoy this on your own. I don't know what is going on with my... Let's try Safari just for a second. Keep Chrome. Something is weird with this. There we go. Okay, so this is for your own enjoyment.
Cutting power.
This is my goodbye dance. Oh, I need the sweatband back now. Anyway, so
this is random.
Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. This is a sneak preview. Adam Blau, who is a composer out of Los Angeles, who writes for television and film, amongst other things, has composed a wonderful Coding Rainbow theme song. A friend of mine from college is the singer on the theme song. I got a preview version of it. I shot some green screen footage to create a little promo video that a bunch of people are helping me with. So that will be released at some point soon, in case you're interested. Okay, Akash asks, what are some coming up topics? Good question. You can the two places you can find out about topics are in the Rainbow Topics GitHub repository. If you sort by thumbs up, you can see this is kind of what I'm looking at. I'm really trying to get to machine learning topics. It's going to take me a little while to get to it, but there's other things listed here. I wanted to do traveling salesperson as an upcoming topic, more stuff with the Connect. I already did Phyllotaxis. That'll be, I want to do fluid simulation. That's coming up. And that's it. Now you guys are all talking about so those are some of the upcoming topics that are coming. I hope, I don't think that my little weird dancing will break the internet, but it would be fun if it did. Plug my class again. Okay, so which one? I don't know which one, but I'm starting in the fall. These are upcoming topics. Well, I should mention something about schedule for a second. Hold on, I gotta pause this. So let me mention something about schedule, because I am actually going on a little bit of vacation for about 10 days at the end of August, starting August 12th. So next week is going to be my last live broadcast of the summer. I'm planning on doing one on Thursday this week and one day next week. I don't know what day yet. I have a big backlog of videos, which is good, so more releases will be coming out as I'm away on vacation. With the Patreon, for the patrons, now that I'm doing this crowdfunding thing, with that, I'm sort of committed to 4 live streams per month. And if you look at how many I've done in July and August, I think I'm already at 8. So I feel like I've kind of gotten that. That's sort of my mental checkpoint to see if I'm kind of doing enough to merit the crowdfunding. You guys can always let me know if you don't feel that I am. Obviously, so this Thursday I'll be doing a live stream. Next week I'll be doing a live stream, and then I'll be away. And even though I'm only going away for about 10 days, as soon as I get back is NYU orientation. So I have this job that keeps me living here in New York City. And so that's going to really keep me busy for that last week of August as well. So likely the live streams won't come back then until September. And in September, I am going to focus my live streams on, first of all, getting this machine learning stuff going that I haven't been able to make happen this summer. I might have to start that next week. But I will be teaching a class on JavaScript and text. So topics are Markov chains, data and APIs, regular expressions, context-free grammars, look at Chrome extensions, Twitter bots, doing some server-side programming. All of this stuff I will be making videos about all semester long. And if you want to sort of follow along with the assignments and discuss assignments with me, you can also subscribe to the Patreon, and there'll be a Slack channel where I'll discuss that. So David, by the way, in the chat suggests a new challenge, Boids. So that would be great. I have a lot of video material about flocking and Boids already if you look through the Nature of Code playlists. But it'd be interesting to do it as a coding challenge where I program it from scratch. So that's kind of in the hopper for the fall. And stay tuned to my Twitter or my email mailing list where I will announce kind of the schedule. And once the fall hits, I'm teaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my class at NYU. And so probably Mondays or Fridays will be my live. I'll probably have a consistent once per week live stream. So that's kind of my plan for the fall. And also, starting in the fall, I wanted to make this happen in the summer, but it seems unrealistic at this point. I'm going to start having guests. So those viewers, I'm going to, if you want to submit a project that you're doing, I will show you a project, and you can even Skype in if you want. And then I also have some people who will come in and do quick guest tutorials. I wanted to make that happen this summer so I could release those while I'm away, but it's hard to sort of pin people down. It's mostly my fault, but I haven't gotten it together. So that's also on the horizon for the fall. And so a lot of things, like Manuel in the chat asked about processing.py, Python processing. That will be something that I might have like a guest come and do, because I don't really do Python programming, but I know people who do, and they could come in and do a guest tutorial about that. Okay, so that is, I think, all I have to say as the song winds down. As I say goodbye, this was a 1 hour and 45 minute about live stream. I did 2 coding challenges to sum up, Flappy Birds and stage 1, part 1 of Agario. So Andrew Bone asked, what are your thoughts on web components? I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. That seems like a complex question. I'm kind of just a dabbler, a sketcher, a playing arounder, so I'm not really a professional web developer type person who has serious, strict thoughts about how to do things. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe on YouTube, share. Trying to make this a sustainable kind of operation, so more viewers is great. Goodbye. Okay, so that's the end of the song. That was Coding Rainbow episode 55. See you on Thursday this week. It will probably also be in the morning. Stay tuned to Twitter and the email list for an announcement about the precise timing. Goodbye.